Thanks for joining us on the Marketplace. Welcome back. Now, the flat VAT rate introduced by government and fuel price adjustments shot up inflation for the month of August. Latest figures from the Statistical Service peg the inflation rate for August at 12.3% compared with 11.9% recorded in July. This is the highest rate recorded since June this year. The Statistical Service also attributes the marginal increase to a base rate effect. Acting Government Statistician Banwadie explains.
The increase we're observing, there are several factors accounting, but key among them is the base drift effect. We observe that the monthly index observed for August was negative, that is negative 0.2%, that is for August 2017. We also observed that for the same month the previous year, that is August 2016, the monthly index stood at, was also negative, but a bigger negative of negative 0.6%. What this means is that the base index for August 2016 was relatively lower than what was the trend. And the effect is that because we dividing the current index, that is the current index for August 2017, with the previous year's index, that is the base of August 2016, we have the August 2017 figure being divided by a relatively lower index, which was recorded for 2016, and that actually reflected in an upward upward inflation being recorded for the current month. There were also other factors. We had a flat VAT rate being imposed, and that affected a lot of items, particularly imported items. And we also had some effect of fuel adjustments also reflecting, and these accounted for what we are observing.
Okay. So how do we project things to look like in the coming months?
The coming months, we would not want to project, but what we can tell you is that whenever the monthly index is negative, it means that real prices or the price level in the month with that negative index are lower than the previous month.
And that was Acting Government Statistician Banwadie. Let's now shift the attention to the petroleum sector, downstream sector of the petroleum industry, where prices of petroleum products could witness a significant increase by this weekend. Joy Business's calculations show that petrol could be up by some 14%, while diesel also go up by 8%. But what is influencing this expected hike? There's more in the following report.
The sharp increase has been mainly influenced by continuous increase in price of crude on the international market due to current tropical storms in the U.S., which has affected Texas, Houston, and Corpus Christi, areas that have been described as the energy and oil refining hubs of the U.S. This has forced more than 10 refineries to shut down, which has the capacity work on more than 3 million barrels of crude a day. This has also affected others that should have been heading to some African countries like Ghana. A development resulted in some petroleum products heading back to the U.S. to deal with a surge in demand. All these developments, together with current summer conditions in Europe, has led to more demand for petrol. This has affected the price of crude, which is currently trading at around $54 a ton. With these projections, a gallon of diesel, which is now going for 18 cedis 58 pesos a gallon, could be sold at a little over 20 Ghana cedis. Petrol, which is going for a little over 18 cedis a gallon, might be sold at around 21 cedis 15 pesos. The good news here is that because of the current policy where each of the over 90 oil marketing companies can set its own prices, it is likely that not all the firms may increase their prices by the same margin. Again, some players in the industry have also told Joy Business that the expected hike might just be for a while, as demand for the crude could reduce when winter kicks in very soon.
And that was the business desk report. Now, crude oil is currently standing at $54.10 a barrel, having lost 17 cents, and this is what is prevailing currently on the global market. Now, making a year-on-year comparison, petrol has been increased from between 3 and 6% across most oil marketing companies, while diesel has also gone up by between 4 and 8% across most filling stations. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEG, is calling on the president to, as a matter of urgency, at least reduce and stabilize fuel prices, as these increases look certain to continue in the coming days if nothing is done immediately. Now, joining us is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber, Duncan Amwa, to do some more analysis on this particular development. Duncan, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace.
Let me say good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to your cherished listeners.
All right, now, Duncan, why this sudden prediction of a hike for the second month pricing window of September?
Like I have said, it stems from two fronts, where you have these hurricanes and other natural disasters clearly crippling some of the major refineries across the United States, which is one of the bigger production hubs for oil for the world market. And so Hurricane Harvey alone knocked out a lot of the major refineries in the Houston, Texas area. And so one-fourth, almost 25% of the refinery capacity of the United States, as we speak, is knocked out. And so supply side is already challenged. And then you also have OPEC on the other side, having reduced the world's glut by as much as 1.8 million barrels a day. And if you do month-on-month analysis, you would also realize that OPEC has been able to equally, between July and August, further cut down by some 79,000 barrels a day. So there is some concerted action from the major oil-producing countries to ensure that prices go back up to the regions that they expect. And then you also have the natural disasters equally taking a toll on world market figures. So,
right. Now, Duncan, let's take a look at the first factor that you mentioned. Can't we move into any other markets apart from the U.S. market for some supply of crude oil?
The U.S. market, unfortunately, stabilizes the world supply. And so it was not even surprising to hear that some of the exports that had already been done, the U.S. has itself recalled some of the vessels carrying oil back into its country. And so what we are seeing now is likely to be sustained. Fortunately for us in Ghana, however, the ex-refinery price doesn't constitute more than 30% of the entire petroleum price build-up. And so we believe that if something could be done about the other factors on the price build-up, prices could be stabilized for Ghanaians, even around this time. Don't forget, world market crude per barrel have gone as high as $135, $136 before, and prices were not this high at the Ghanaian pump. So something could be done, and we are expecting that something be done immediately. Other than that, the figures we are putting from the world market, there's only one outcome, that is Ghanaians are going to be charged to pay much more for fuel in the coming 2, 3, 4 days.
Now, Duncan, charging more for fuel, even talking about the tax components, various tax components in the price build-up of the petroleum prices. Now, let's come to this particular issue. What do you expect to be removed from the price build-up, and to what extent would it affect pricing?
Emmanuel, if you speak to most of these importers, if you speak to the OMC, some are still wondering why at this time we will still have price stabilization and recovery levy, which is one of the taxes put on there when world market rates are so low, just to ensure that fuel prices have a certain minimum parity. But at the time when they are rising, one expects that the price stabilization and recovery levy of 12 pesos per liter, or almost 60 pesos per gallon, is still being charged at 12 pesos. So we have requested that the Energy Ministry together with the Finance Ministry, ensure that the price stabilization and recovery levy be used for the intended purpose. It should be used to stabilize prices for consumers immediately, so that if that alone is knocked off, Emmanuel, like I've indicated, the clean effect is that pump prices could come down by as much as 15 pesos per litre, and that will be quite significant to bring fuel back into the 3 cedi 90 region as compared to what we have today, which is almost above 4 cedi 1.30 region. Clearly, some of the taxes, again, you also make mention of primary distribution margin, which today stands at 7.5 pesos per litre, meaning that if you bought a gallon, you would end up paying almost 35 pesos, 40 pesos a gallon. If that equally is also leveraged or reduced, one would see that the two together, the stabilization and recovery levy, together with the primary distribution margin, if something was done about them, fuel prices could immediately come down by not less than 30 pesos. And we think that that will be significant for stabilizing prices in the wake of these turbulent times.
All right, so what is the chamber going to do in this regard, since you've been making this agitation for a long time and it looks like it's falling on deaf ears?
Emmanuel, I can assure that some of our major stakeholders, the drivers, already upbeat. They are already upset. Some wanted to go on demonstrations this week. We've managed to prevail on a lot of them to stay so that we continue to engage or negotiate with authorities. But I can assure that in the next 2 weeks, if Ghanaians do not get any concrete action to stabilize prices and would allow world market prices and prices to be increased Monday to Sunday, as we have seen now, I'm quite certain that there will be mass protests across the country, and it will not just be COPEC, but our drivers are equally ready to join this mass action. Emmanuel.
Thanks for your time. Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Ghana. Moving on the marketplace, Zenith Bank has indicated it is prepared to help any bank that may have some challenges in meeting the new capital requirement levels by the Bank of Ghana. Joy Business checks show that Zenith is one of 3 banks that are in the position to meet the new capital level of 400 million Ghana cedis. Managing Director of the bank, Henry Oro, has been speaking to Joy Business about what the bank should be looking at from a bank like this.
That question will keep resonating in the next 12 months. Issues of mergers and acquisition, M&As, integration and all that is a natural thing that will happen in the marketplace. Our preference traditionally is to grow organically. Our preference is to, look at ourselves, grow the business internally, and that is how we have grown in the last 12 years. That is how we grow in whatever markets we are in. But let me say this announcement, recapitalization announcement, is a special thing for this economy, for this country, and there will be need for big players to give a helping hand, beyond what they traditionally would do. We as Zenith Bank, we have not shut the doors. We're not going to say, hey, we'll do it alone. No, we will be open-minded. If we have an invitation, a good hand invitation, we will review the hand and see how clean the hand is, and see whether it makes sense for us. Are we going to be better with such M&As? If we believe it makes strategic sense for us, we cannot rule out that possibility. So we are open to such happening.
Lord Kitchener and his son set certain standards for what he will look out for a lady in terms of trying to marry. Zenith Bank, what are you going to look out for that lady that might present itself as a bank to you? What are those basic requirements?
The lady has to be slim, has to be agile, has to be lean, without fats, without cholesterol, all right? And in the banking system, when you have a lot of NPL, that's a lot of cholesterol. When you have a lot of NPS, that's a lot of fat. When you have a lot of, those are very negative things in the banking business. So the lady must provide those qualities that will make somebody like you attracted to that lady. A lean, agile, quick lady. and we see.
So within the banking sector, Standard Chartered Bank says it is intensifying automation of its services to help improve customer experience. The bank, which began a strategy on a pilot basis, says it is now moving into full force because of the impact on its operations. Some industry watchers have argued the automation process being adopted by banks is just part of strategies to cut down on costs and lay off workers. But head of retail banking for Standard Chartered disagrees.
Today, there's some things we define as what we call client journeys. A client journey is just a new jargon. It's a buzz, which is simply when a client is going through a particular type of process with a bank, what steps do they take? It's just like in every journey, you take one step, you take two steps, and so on. So if you take a typical client journey today of a client opening an account, the client, somebody will go to the client, they will fill a piece of paper, an application form, usually very long. They have to attach an ID, attach this document, attach that document. Now, when that goes to the bank, there is a whole machinery of people who are also now going to go through the process of processing this paper, ticking it, making sure everything is okay. They will call you and say this. Now, imagine how technology will change that. So if somebody comes to you with an iPad, or you even download an app, and that app enables you to open an account without any human intervention. So you go in, you put in your national ID, maybe, and it pops up all your data, your name, your date of birth, all of that. And it pre-populates that form, which the bank would have given you as paper. All you need to do is go through it and say, is the data I have there, my address, my this, are they correct? And you sign on a wet signature, and as soon as that is done, you click confirm, your account is opened. You use your own phone to take a picture of your ID, which then goes and is verified at a back-end system. So that whole journey a client will have had to walk is digitized. So what does that do in terms of the operations of a bank? Number one, it eliminates paper. Number two, it makes you more efficient. Number three, it reduces errors. Okay? And number four, it will definitely cut on the time that you used to do just any kind of operation. Will brick and mortar survive for another 20 years? I have to be a prophet to say exactly what will happen. But what I know will happen is brick and mortar will become less and less important.
It's a marketplace. We're taking a breather here. We bring an investment tip.
Investment Tips is brought to you by Daffing Finance, Deposits, Investments, Borrowings and Advisory.
It is important to know that the longer you invest, the more money you're going to make. Starting your investment journey at an earlier age would enable you to accumulate more money because of the compounding rates of return. You've got a long way to go. Stay on the path. It's okay to stray, but it's always better to plan your route, including preparing for detours and roadblocks.
Investment Tips was brought to you by Daffing Finance, Deposits, Investments, Borrowings and Advisory.
Much for staying. Now, moving on, financial analyst Charles Mensah is calling for a radical approach in improving financial literacy in the country. According to him, gaining financial independence can only be achieved if a rigorous savings culture is adopted. He was speaking during a financial class meant for young graduates and the working class and organized under the auspices of Trust Consult.
Mutual funds managers or the fund manager of mutual funds, they invest not only in money market, but they also invest in the stock market and the bonds. So the average returns sometimes tends to be higher than only playing the money market. And if you are about this age and you are investing in mutual fund over a period of time, gradually monthly, you would end up cashing in a lot of money because the price of the fund or the unit goes up almost every year or every month. So by the time you do 5 to 10 years, your fund would have grown to become bigger. You can easily cash out and use it for something that you want to do as part of your goals or objective.
What's your assessment, of the savings culture here in Ghana?
I think it's gradually growing, more so because a lot of financial intermediaries have been created. You have the money transfer, mobile money transfer. It's become a medium for savings because people don't have enough. They have just a small amount of money, so they needed an intermediary. And then the insurance companies have also done well. They've reduced it to the micro insurance, so people are using it. So gradually, yes, the culture is coming, but nobody goes to the bank and put the physical cash there. They are just putting it into product, and it's a very good thing for us. And I think we should encourage it to be cut across the whole nation.
Now, snails have always been Mami Sewa Donkor's favorite meat for years. She only got to eat when they were in season twice a year, till she discovered edible snails in her backyard. It's been 5 months since that incident, and today the startupper, who is in her 20s, owns a mini farm and exploring market opportunities. The Joy Business Van today goes to her farmyard, and this is what to expect.
It's almost 6 p.m. Mami Sewa Donkor is preparing to feed her snails. This is the exact spot the idea came to. Tell me about that day.
All right, so it had rained the night before, and it was quite cold by morning. So I came out to get some air, and then I noticed snails coming out of the thicket. I love snails. And so I knew I was definitely going to collect them.
And you hadn't noticed previously?
I hadn't.
Wow.
And so I gathered them. The same thing happened the following morning. It happened 3 consecutive mornings. And I thought, why are snails not always available to us? Why are they always available twice a year? So, I started thinking, well, is there a way I could keep these snails and then bred them so I can have them always available all year round?
Motivated by that idea, Mami Sewa started reading about snails and how to keep a snail farm. She told friends about the idea and she got support from them too.
All right, so you get the details or the full story tonight on Business Live at 5 p.m. And that will be it for the marketplace this afternoon. Many thanks for your time. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Join me again same time tomorrow for another interesting edition. Have a good afternoon.